The evening air was heavy with silence as the last of the candles flickered weakly, and King Shahryar, lost in thought, waited for Scheherazada's next tale. Her voice, calm and steady, filled the stillness of the room once more.
O King, I bring you a tale of silence and tragedy, a story of a princess whose voice was stolen and of the kingdom that suffered because of it. It is a tale of love and sacrifice and the enduring power of words, both spoken and unspoken. In a distant kingdom, there was a princess named Layla, the only child of a powerful sultan. She was renowned for her beauty, her kindness, and her wisdom. But above all, Layla was known for her voice, a voice so sweet, so melodic, that it was said to have the power to heal the sick and bring peace to the hearts of those who heard it. The people loved their princess, and she was cherished by all who knew her. But her beauty and grace caught the eye of a dark sorcerer, a man who was envious of the princess's fame. He sought to possess the power that lay within her voice, the power that had earned her such admiration. And so he cast a terrible spell. One night, as Princess Layla sat alone in her chamber, the sorcerer appeared before her, cloaked in shadow. He spoke not a word, but raised his hand, casting a silent spell upon the princess. In that moment, Layla's voice was stolen from her, and she was left with only silence. An "oh" sound came from her lips, no song, no words, no laughter. It was as if the very essence of her being had been taken from her. When Layla's father, the Sultan, learned of what had happened, he was heartbroken. The kingdom fell into despair, for without their princess's voice, the people felt as though they had lost something vital, something irreplaceable. They searched high and low for a way to restore Layla's voice, but no one knew how to break the curse. For many years, Layla lived in silence, her beauty still shining, but her spirit dimmed. She could no longer speak to her people, no longer comfort them with her songs or words. Her heart grew heavy with sorrow, and the people, too, felt the loss of the one who had once been their light. But Layla, though silent, was not without hope. One day, a young prince from a neighboring kingdom heard of her plight. His name was Camel, and he had been captivated by stories of Layla's beauty and kindness since his youth. He, too, sought the answer to her curse, for he believed that her silence was a tragedy that no kingdom should endure. Camel, determined to help Layla, journeyed to the distant land where she lived. He found the princess in the palace gardens, sitting alone beneath a tree, her hands folded in her lap. Her eyes, though filled with sorrow, still shone with kindness. Without speaking a word, she welcomed him. Camel, moved by Layla's plight, decided that he would not rest until he had found a way to restore her voice. He sought out the kingdom's greatest scholars, traveled to distant lands, and consulted with the wisest sages, and after many months of searching, he learned of a long-forgotten legend. It spoke of a flower that grew deep in the heart of a forbidden forest, a flower known as the singing blossom, whose petals were said to hold the power to restore the voice of any who had lost it. The forest where the singing blossom grew was no ordinary place. It was a dark and twisted wood, filled with dangerous creatures and ancient magic. No one who had ventured into the forest had ever returned. But Camel, undeterred by the dangers, set off on his journey. Days turned into weeks, and Camel's journey grew ever more treacherous. He battled fierce beasts, navigated through the thickest of fog, and crossed perilous ravines. But at last he reached the heart of the forest, where the singing blossom bloomed. The flower glowed with a soft, ethereal light, and its petals seemed to hum with an ancient song. Camel took the flower and made his way back to the palace. When he presented it to Layla, her eyes filled with tears. She held the flower in her hands, and as its petals brushed against her skin, a soft melody filled the air. Slowly, her voice began to return. The moment she spoke, her voice was more beautiful than ever. It was as though the silence that had defined her life for so long had been lifted. Her first words were to Camel, words of gratitude and love. The curse had been broken, and Layla's voice was restored. Camel and Layla's love blossomed, and the two were married in a great celebration. The kingdom rejoiced, for the silence had been broken, and the princess's voice once again brought peace and joy to their lives. And as for the sorcerer, he was never seen again, his dark magic vanishing into the shadows. And so, O king, the lesson is clear. That which is lost may one day be found, and that which is silenced may one day speak again. But we must always remember that the voice, once stolen, can only be restored through love, sacrifice, and the courage to face the darkness.
When Scheherazade heard the rooster crow, she decided to stop telling stories. Shahryar smiled and realized that Scheherazade would not tell any more. Of course, he had a new date the next night to continue enjoying the stories of his beautiful wife, Scheherazade.